Have you ever watched your own life from a distance, like a movie you can't turn off? I saw it from the upstairs window of our Chicago brownstone, the one on North Clark Street. The window overlooked the very driveway we'd paid a fortune to have paved in cobblestone, a silly romantic dream we'd shared. It was just after dawn, the sky a bruised purple, and there she was, my wife Sarah, laughing. She leaned into the passenger window of a sleek black Audi, a car I'd never seen before. Her hand rested on his cheek, a gesture so intimate, so practiced, it hollowed out my chest. Then she kissed him, a slow, lingering goodbye that wasn't meant for me. In that single moment, the life I knew became a lie. And the man I was died right there, watching from the window of the home we built together. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The strange behavior had been a slow poison. It started with her phone, a device that had become a fortress. It was always angled away from me, its screen glowing with secrets in the dark of our bedroom. Then came the late nights at the office, the new client dinners that left her smelling of a cologne that wasn't mine. When I'd ask, her answers were clipped, wrapped in a layer of condescending pity. "Don't be so insecure, honey. It's just work." She'd say it with a smile that didn't reach her eyes, a smile that made me feel small and foolish. The woman I married, the one who'd held my hand through my father's funeral, was gone. In her place was this cold, polished stranger who looked at me with something bordering on contempt. The villains always feel untouchable in the beginning, don't they? Her and him, I later learned his name was Mark. A smug wealth manager from a rival firm, they moved through their affair with an arrogance that was breathtaking. They'd meet for lunch at the Gauge, a restaurant just blocks from my own office, flaunting their connection in plain sight. The breaking point came on our anniversary. I'd booked a table at our favorite spot, the one where I proposed. I waited for 2 hours. She never showed. A text finally came through at 10 p.m. "So sorry. Got held up, brand check." I looked at the single rose I'd bought for her, its petals already starting to wilt on the empty chair beside me. I drove home in a daze, the city lights blurring through my tears. I walked into our home, and the silence was deafening. I found the receipt in her coat pocket. Not from an office, but from the Peninsula Hotel, a place known for discreet encounters. A charge for 2, for champagne and oysters. That night, I didn't just cry, I shattered. I sat on the floor of our walk-in closet, surrounded by her expensive dresses and his lingering scent, and I let the agony consume me. But as the sun rose, something new took root in the ruins of my heart. A cold, clear, and ruthless resolve. The grief was over. The war had just begun. My first call was to the best divorce attorney in Chicago. The second was to a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who specialized in marital infidelity. "I don't just want proof," I told him, my voice devoid of emotion. "I want a timeline. I want financials. I want every text, every hotel, every lie. Documented and undeniable." For the next 3 months, I became a ghost in my own life. I smiled at Sarah. I listened to her fabricated stories about work. I played the part of the devoted, slightly oblivious husband. All the while, a dossier grew on my lawyer's desk. Photos of them kissing in a parking garage in the Loop. Bank statements showing lavish gifts I never received. A secret credit card used to fund their weekend getaways to Miami. I learned Mark was married too, a beautiful, unsuspecting woman who was about to have her world torn apart. I felt a pang of pity for her, but my focus was singular. Sarah had built her social standing on a foundation of lies, portraying herself as a devoted wife and a pillar of our community. I was about to set that foundation on fire. The trap was set for the annual charity gala she chaired, the pinnacle of her social calendar. It was her night to shine, to stand in front of hundreds of Chicago's elite and speak about integrity and commitment. It was perfect. The day of the gala, I had her served. Not at home, but at her office, in front of all her colleagues. The legal documents were thick, containing copies of the most damning evidence, the photos. The hotel bills, the romantic texts, but that was just the beginning. As she stood at the podium that evening, radiant in a designer gown, her speech about the importance of family and trust echoing through the grand ballroom of the Drake Hotel, my plan went into its final stage. I had arranged for a second set of documents to be delivered, this time to Mark's wife, who was sitting at a table right near the front. I watched from the back of the room as she opened the envelope. I saw the color drain from her face, the confusion turning to horror, then to a white-hot rage as she looked from the photos to her husband, and then to Sarah on the stage. She stood up. The room fell silent. "You," she screamed, her voice shaking but carrying across the cavernous space. "You're a fraud." All eyes turned to Sarah, whose perfect smile had frozen on her face. Mark's wife started walking towards the stage, holding up a photograph of Sarah and Mark locked in an embrace. "You talk about trust? You've been sleeping with my husband for a year." The chaos was immediate. The murmurs turned to gasps. Mark looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. Sarah stood there, paralyzed, exposed under the bright lights as her entire world crumbled around her in a symphony of her own making. She lost everything. Her job fired her for violating their code of conduct. Her friends, the ones who had admired her, abandoned her. The divorce left her with nothing but her shame. The court saw the evidence of her calculated deception and ruled decisively in my favor. I sold the house on North Clark Street. The last time I saw her, she was loading her belongings into a beat-up sedan, the black Audi nowhere in sight. Her face was pale, her eyes empty. There was no anger left in me, no hatred. It was nothing at all. I just turned and walked away. The sound of the cobblestones under my feet, the only noise in the quiet street. Sometimes the most complete revenge isn't a scream, but the silence that follows the storm.